Hello students, welcome to EPG Pathshala. I am Dr. Neelam Gandhi from Zoology Department, Hansraj College. Today we are going to discuss about a module Genome Dynamics in Eukaryotes from paper Molecular Genetics. So students, let us see what we are going to learn in this module. Genome changes in eukaryotes. What are the causative agents and what are their biological consequences? And then we will see if we are able to have any applications of these changes, such as in pest management, gene therapy, genetic research. Now, for a long time, the common belief was that genomes of organisms are fixed and passed only vertically from parental generation to offspring. A large number of studies have shown that genomes actually are not static, but they exist in a state of incessant flux. There is a change. New genes can be acquired or they can arise de novo, conferring new adaptive functions to their possessors. Gut parasitic organisms have acquired genes necessary for anaerobic metabolism from gut microbes. Host plants produce a variety of chemicals to deter herbivory, yet plant pests successfully detoxify these chemicals and consume plant. In this, we have a very good example. Say, some of the arthropods have acquired the gene cysteine synthase, which enables them to detoxify cyanide produced by plants, and so they are able to consume the plant tissue. And this gene for cysteine synthase they have obtained from bacteria, and therefore you realize the way this exchange of genes or acquisition of new genes can confer new properties and thus make the possessors better adapted to their environments. Research in the field of genetics has provided an insight into these and many more such success stories. Transposable elements, bacteria, and viruses, they all have played a very important role in genome dynamics. And when these transposons come to lie near other genes, they can affect the expression of these adjacent genes as well. In addition, when these transposons are going to integrate into some genes, they might be affecting their function such that a very good example in evolution is that of evolution of peppered moth. And in this, what has happened, it is the integration of a transposon into the gene cortex, which has converted the light variety into the dark variety, and this has become one of the most important example of evolution in an organism, making it adaptable to an altered environmental condition. Genome changes in eukaryotes can be brought about by a number of agents such as transposons, bacteria, and viruses, and these changes are going to produce a number of biological consequences such as change in genome structure, change in gene expression, and many a times it has led to the appearance of entirely new characters and structures. Transposable elements in eukaryotic genomes contain an abundance of repeated DNA, and some repeated sequences are mobile called transposable elements. They have been identified in all organisms and can occupy a high proportion of a species genome. Large-scale sequencing of genomes has revealed a great diversity of transposable elements. Types of transposons, it includes class 1 retro elements, which are the retrotransposons, which are very similar to retroviruses, and second class is these retro elements include LTRs, that is, they have long terminal repeats at their ends. The other category of retro elements are non-LTR elements, and this includes lines and signs. They do not have long terminal repeats. Lines are autonomous elements because they encode for enzymes for their movement, whereas signs are non-autonomous and rely on the machinery of the line elements to move from one place to another. The other category of transposons includes the DNA transposons, which have inverted terminal repeats at their ends, and this also includes mites which have lost their DNA coding portion, which is the transposase present in DNA transposons responsible for their movement. This category also includes helitrons and mavericks. Mavericks actually are very, very large DNA transposons, very ancient and capable of coding a large number of proteins. Class 1 retro elements. Class 1 retro elements have two long terminal repeats and resemble retroviruses in both their structure and mechanism of transposition. All of them share two genes, GAG gene encoding the capsid like protein and the pol gene encoding a polyprotein that contains a protease, a reverse transcriptase, an RNase and integrase that are crucial for transposition. Non-LTR retrotransposons, lines and signs. Now, lines refer to long interspersed elements which contain an ORF1 encoding an RNA binding protein and ORF2 which codes for an endonuclease and reverse transcriptase. Signs, which are short interspersed elements, they are non-autonomous, do not contain ORF1 and 2, and they rely on line machinery for transposition. All U1 is an example of sign and it derives from 7SL RNA, but other signs derive from tRNA genes. These signs and lines, they both of course share a simple sequence repeat, poly A, but they are actually very important from the human genome point of view because these are the only transposable elements which are currently very active. They are moving actively and they constitute almost 1/3 of the genome of the human total genome in comparison to other transposable elements which are no longer active and they have become quiescent because of various inactivating mutations. This includes DNA transposons. In DNA transposons, we find it has a number of subfamilies and these transposons contain terminal inverted repeats and they have a gene coding for transposase. Mites refer to miniature inverted repeat transposable elements which are non-autonomous because they do not have a DNA coding for transposase. The helitrons, which also belong to the DNA transposon category, they replicate via rolling circle mechanism and they may contain captured host genome gene fragments. Mavericks are large transposons bordered by long terminal inverted repeats and they encode for various proteins but do not encode reverse transcriptase. This depicts the transposable elements present in human genome, which indicates that lines form a very good proportion in our genome, which is about 21%, and signs constitute about 13%. DNA transposons constitute about 3%. DNA transposons do not really show any movement now, but they showed movement in the ancient past. Lines and signs are the elements which are showing movement currently in the genome, and they are also responsible for a number of diseases. Transposons can result in changes in genome by a number of mechanisms. That is, if they insert into the coding region, this can lead to insertional mutagenesis. They can also lead to double strand breaks because of the endonuclease activity. They can lead to microsatellite seeding because of the homopolymeric tracts. They can lead to gene conversion. They can lead to insertion mediated deletions, inversions and translocations. That is, a number of genome rearrangements can be brought about by insertion of transposons. Transposons can also lead to exon transduction, and this exon transduction again is responsible for a number of genomic rearrangements. Especially it can lead to deletions of some segments and duplications of some other segments, and at the same time this is also responsible for transduction. That means retro element keeps on reading through for a long enough time so as to incorporate the 3' flanking regions or the 5' flanking regions. A retrotransposon sequence can be recruited as a coding sequence and integrated into a gene made up here of 2 exons, blue boxes. This is often associated with alternative splicing. The presence of a retrotransposon in the intron of a gene, a sequence between the 2 blue boxes which represent exons, can result in transcription elongation defects such as attenuation or premature polyadenylation. Retrotransposons carry transcription factor binding sites. A transcription factor carried by a retrotransposon can upregulate or downregulate the expression of neighboring genes. A retrotransposon carries sense and antisense promoters that can initiate downstream and upstream transcription. The presence of 2 all U elements in the opposite direction or orientation in gene transcripts can lead to adenosine to inosine editing, which can result in suppression of expression through nuclear retention of edited RNA transcripts. A retrotransposon sequence can be methylated, which may initiate and spread the formation of heterochromatin, pink ovals, thereby altering the expression of neighboring genes. Effect of transposons on gene expression, it can be actually quite varied because these transposons can be recruited as a coding sequence and integrated into the gene, and therefore it is going to become as one of the exons, or this is as, and therefore it can be used for alternative splicing to give rise to varied gene products. Or the presence of a retrotransposon into the intron and this is going to affect the splicing process. It is going to affect in the attenuation, elongation defects. It can be premature polyadenylation, etc. Or if the retrotransposons carry a transcription factor binding site, a transcription factor carried by a retrotransposon, it can upregulate or downregulate the expression of the neighboring genes. This again can be of very great significance. Effect of transposons on gene expression can also be seen in another way, because a retrotransposon can carry promoters, sense or antisense, and they can initiate downstream or upstream transcription. The presence of two all-U elements in the opposite orientation in the gene transcripts can lead to adenosine to inosine editing, which can result in suppression of expression through nuclear retention of edited RNA transcripts. A retrotransposon sequence can be methylated, which may initiate and spread the formation of heterochromatin, and this way it can alter the expression of the neighboring genes. Building regulatory systems with transposable elements. Dispersal of expanding transposable families throughout the genome allows the same regulatory motifs to be recruited at many chromosomal locations, drawing multiple genes into the same regulatory network. One shows regulation at the transcription level, second shows post-transcriptional regulation, third shows regulation by transposon derived microRNA, and fourth shows regulation by transposase derived DNA binding protein. Wiring of a transcriptional regulatory network, a binding site for DNA binding protein has been dispersed throughout the genome. If a DNA binding protein is a transcription factor, its binding to a transposon adjacent to a gene may influence the expression of that gene. Multiple genes are brought simultaneously under the control of the transcription factor through their association with different copies of the same transposable family. Wiring of post-transcriptional regulatory network. Several transposable element copies are co-transcribed along with their neighboring gene, resulting in the production of different mRNAs containing similar transposable elements. If the transposable elements contains a binding site for RNA binding protein, it may engage different mRNAs in the same post-transcriptional pathway of gene regulation. De novo assembly of a microRNA network from a transposon family. This model combines the idea of transposable element host gene co-transcription with the origin of a microRNA precursor containing a transposable element of the same family. Such precursor may arise by transcription and intramolecular folding of a transposable element with nearly perfect palindromic structure, for example mites. The resulting double-stranded RNA may then be processed into mature microRNA. The resulting TE-derived microRNA can pair with complementary TE sequences embedded within the 3' UTR of co-transcribed mRNA. De novo assembly of cis and trans components of a transcriptional network from DNA transposon family. In this model, the DNA binding protein is derived from a transposase and thus has the potential to bind to network of sites previously distributed around the genome by related transposable elements. If the transposase derived DBP has transcription factor activity, it may regulate the expression of genes located in proximity to a binding site embedded within a related transposon, including its own. Bacteria can work as very important agents of horizontal gene transfer. They have contributed greatly in genome dynamics of a number of species of organisms. Most notable example is the evolution of mitochondria, allowing for aerobic metabolism, and chloroplast, allowing for photosynthesis. Transfer of bacterial genes to gut microbial pathogens allowed the latter to cope up with anaerobic conditions. Walking and stick insects greatly diversified after having acquired genes for pectinases from bacteria. This shows the evolution of mitochondria and chloroplasts, wherein a eukaryotic cell engulfed a bacterium, and this bacterium was aerobic. This changed the character of the anaerobic eukaryotic organism into an aerobic eukaryote, and engulfment of a photosynthetic cyanobacterium led to the evolution of chloroplasts, and that is how this led to the evolution of photosynthesis. Viruses are also very important agents of genome change. They have had a very significant impact on the evolution of all organisms. Endogenous retroviruses, which seem to arise from ancient infections of the germline of the host by exogenous retroviruses, are present in the genomes of all vertebrates. Thousands of genes which appear to have evolved in this manner invaded the genome in early mammals and contributed to the evolution of viviparity. Some endogenous retroviruses protect the host against infection by related pathogenic and exogenous retroviruses. A sequence installed by a retrovirus regulates the amylase gene cluster, allowing us to produce amylase in our saliva. Transfer of Hymenopterum genes into butterflies through the agency of virus protects the latter against the pathogenic viruses. Shows how an endogenous retrovirus was utilized for the development of placenta and therefore evolution of viviparity. A retrovirus which first invaded the germline, it was endogenized, and in this it has got fixed in all the individuals, and therefore it is this which has been responsible for placentation. Endogenous retroviruses have contributed to more than 8% of the human genome. Most endogenous retroviruses don't code for functional proteins because of accumulation of mutations. However, in the retrovirus HERVW that infected the germline of the ancestor of great apes 25 million years ago, and HERV-FRD that infected the ancestors of all monkeys 40 million years ago. Reading frame of the envelope genes are still intact. They have been responsible for the production of a novel structure, placenta, as seen in the following slide. Role of endogenous retrovirus in placentation in carnivora. In this, as you can see, the infection of the carnivora ancestor took place after the carnivore Pholidota split 85 million years ago, and this was viral integration in the genome of the line leading towards carnivores, and in the absence of selection pressure, the retroviral gag and pole genes have lost their coding capacity. But the ENV gene has been co-opted, and this has resulted in the maintenance of its coding capacity in the course of carnivora evolution to give rise to placenta. This gene named syncytin is conserved among a series of 26 carnivora representatives. Placenta showing syncytio trophoblast, HERV-W and HERV-FRD show placenta-specific expression. They contribute to placental morphogenesis and mediate fusion of cytotrophoblasts to syncytiotrophoblasts. As it shows, the applications of various agents which have been responsible for altering the genomes of different organisms, they can also be utilized in the management of pests, for gene therapy purposes, and for genetic research. Transposons are now being studied for their ability to create transgenic insects of agricultural and public health importance. However, strategies of pest management must take into account the nature of host-parasitoid relationship and production of genetically modified parasitoid wasps expressing insecticide resistance for biological control of pests. It may prove counterproductive, as this resistance may be transmitted by the wasps to the pests, and as the lateral gene transfer has been shown to be rather frequent, it can have important implications for pest and disease control. If the foreign gene thus acquired becomes vital to a disease-causing host species, this transferred gene then can serve as the new disease-fighting target. As you can see, different types of viruses have been employed to insert normal genes into cells of patients suffering from SID, sickle cell anemia, hereditary blindness, adenovirus, adeno-associated virus, retrovirus, herpes simplex virus, etc. Plasmids, transposons, and viruses have been used extensively to determine functions of genes. Engineered plasmids are being used in DNA cloning, and the phenomenon of transformation allows plasmid vectors to be introduced into and expressed by E. coli cells. Sleeping Beauty transposon was used successfully in human T cells, resulting in stable gene transfer and expression of the reporter gene. Another transposon, Frog Prince, was reconstructed from Rana pipiens. It shows preference for intronic insertions and is very efficient in gene trapping experiments conducted in tissue culture cells. Non-pathogenic herpes simplex virus vector systems produce a highly infectious, efficient vehicle for the delivery of exogenous genetic material to cells. Adeno-associated viruses as well as lentiviruses have been suitably modified and are being used extensively to mediate gene transfer into cell lines, primary cell cultures, and in whole animal models. P elements are a powerful tool and have been used to produce mutations by insertion to mark the position of genes, to facilitate the cloning of genes, and to insert genes. So students, let us summarize what we have learned in this module. Genomes of eukaryotes are not fixed, but they continue to change due to horizontal transfer of genes by bacteria and viruses. This may allow genes to be transferred across different species, genera, or even across different domains, which is not possible for vertical gene transfer. Comparative genomic studies suggest that horizontal gene transfer has played a very important role in the evolution of a genome of a number of eukaryotic groups. On the grandest scale, horizontal gene transfer has been responsible for the evolution in eukaryotes of mitochondria and plastids by endosymbiosis of Proteobacterium and Cyanobacterium respectively. Transposons in eukaryotes have played a very important role in genome dynamics by various mechanisms, either producing insertional mutagenesis or leading to enhanced expression of some genes or even leading to creation of novel genes with new functions and new regulatory networks. Some of the most striking examples include Rag1 and Rag2 proteins needed for our immune system, industrial melanism in peppered moth, development of progesterone responsive network of genes in uterus of mammals, allowing for viviparity. The entire discussion thus reveals that there are a number of options for future genetic research, study of gene function, as well as gene therapy has been greatly facilitated by development of powerful gene transfer techniques using plasmids, transposons, and viral vectors. Thank you.